Alright folks, we're in 2026 and for God's sake let this be the year of GTA 6 because man, the guys have already said that there's room for another delay. That's tough, you know, but until GTA 6 arrives, I'll keep playing GTA 5 and discovering more bizarre things and realistic details that many people don't even imagine are in a 2013 game. So without further ado, go ahead and like and subscribe right at the beginning of this video, and if you haven't subscribed, with that said, let's get started. Let's start by talking about something that I assume some people had already noticed but didn't know it was a realistic detail, which is the following. When we do a burnout, drift here in the game, we press to accelerate and to reverse at the same time. The back wheel of the vehicles keeps spinning endlessly in the same spot. I don't know what the correct term for this is, burnout or whatever, but after a while, a lot of smoke comes out with the car standing in the same place drifting. The tires simply burst, right, because of the excessive heat. This somehow breaks the tire fibers and it bursts, and so far so good. But the realistic detail is that if you happen to go to Los Santos Customs and change the regular tires to bulletproof tires, this problem doesn't happen anymore, and there's some truth to that. That's because bulletproof tires are much more robust in general, both in structure and in the amount of rubber and everything else. They have a greater difficulty in dissipating heat in real life, but they are still extremely more resistant. So if you put bulletproof tires on your vehicle, you can keep accelerating and braking and creating smoke continuously for hours without the tire bursting anymore. It's a realistic detail, and at the same time, it's also something cool for those who like to do donuts without damaging the car's tires. Second stop, which is a simple detail, but I think many people may not know about it. I think many people already assumed that this existed, but it's something very simple, which is the following. When we are in the sea of GTA 5, we have some waves and everything is fine, but what many people don't know is that when it's raining, it changes. If you set the weather to rain with thunder or something like that, these waves become much more aggressive, much larger, much more frequent, and everything else. A realistic detail that we already expected, especially considering the level of detail in GTA 5, but just to make it clear, because this has never been brought up in any other video. Now, a cool thing that many people may not realize is there, but it is also there, but like there are times when it works and times when it doesn't work, which is the following. In the game's radio, there is the Blaine County radio, which I think is also the West Coast, also from Blaine County. I think there are two radios from the countryside there, and the detail is that it only picks up no part of Los Santos. But if you stay there on the division between Los Santos and Blaine County, which is more or less just after the Vinewood sign, the radios start getting weaker until one of them loses signal. It's a detail that few people noticed. I hadn't even noticed, but in my last videos there were some people who went there and left in the comments and left this information, and I went to check. It was Nicholas Gonçalves, so first of all, a shout out to Nicholas, and let's move on to the next one. Another thing that many people don't know, but it's a somewhat realistic detail, but also a curiosity, from time to time we can hear some people talking there when Trevor is in the middle of the desert in Sandy Shores and such with his vehicle. In fact, these are not random people talking or hallucinations like some people think it is. Basically, it's that radio that truck drivers use to communicate with each other. Trevor has one in his truck, and because of that, he ends up having this communication with other truck drivers. He doesn't respond to anything. He just listens to what other truck drivers say, but it's a really cool detail.
This is a raton canyon kid. Do you copy?
Another cool thing that I assume some people may have noticed, but I don't know, never really looked into maybe, is that there is a very realistic detail in the car theft actions. So when the character is stealing a vehicle, whether it's Trevor, Michael, or Franklin, they have different animations depending on what they have in hand. Obviously, some will generate the standard animation and others will have specific animations, such as if you are stealing without any weapon, you will have an animation with Trevor, Franklin, and Michael, which is already realistic in itself because each one has a different way of stealing a vehicle. However, if you go with a pistol, they will first threaten the guy with the gun before taking the guy out of the car. There is also another theft action with the rifle or carbine and so on. This was sent by L7 Rodriguez 73997 in the comments of the videos. So whatever you know, send it in the comments. Who knows if a video might not appear soon. Another cool realistic detail is that civilians get out of the way of all emergency vehicles. So if you're passing by with just the siren on in a police car, fire truck, ambulance, it doesn't matter which of these emergency vehicles it is. If you have the siren on, usually civilians get out of the way. Some end up having some stupid reactions and end up crashing into you, but usually they get out of the way or simply stop their vehicles so you can pass. It's nothing hidden or like most people haven't noticed. I think most people had already noticed this, but since we're talking about realistic details, this couldn't be left out. Another detail that was sent to us by Victor8120, I think that's how it's pronounced, is that he mentioned a sensational detail about the headlights of vehicles. He said that older vehicles have dimmer and hazier headlights, while newer vehicles have clearer and brighter headlights, making it easier to see the cutoff line. I went to test it out and it doesn't work with all vehicles, meaning not every old vehicle has dim and hazy headlights, and not every new vehicle has clear headlights and a more visible cutoff line with better illumination. But overall, he's right, there is this difference between the headlights of old and new vehicles. Another cool thing that also exists is the following. I had already mentioned here on the channel about the detail of you chasing people within GTA 5 and these people running away, and up to there I think it's standard, but one thing that I think many people didn't know is the following. You can press to interact with characters or even keep following them, and depending on the character you are following, it usually happens more with women. They may end up calling the police if they feel pursued or bothered. You can hear the call, like the moment she is calling and saying that you are following her or bothering her, and as soon as she ends the call, she runs away and a wanted star appears for you, which is a detail, man. So very cool, dude. Cool.
Fuck this, I'm calling the cops. Yes, I need an officer right away.
Speaking again about the headlights of the NPC's vehicles, there is one here that is pretty cool, which was sent by Pocoyo Zangado. He says that during the day, NPCs drive through tunnels, and when they specifically pass through tunnels, they turn on the car headlights. It's something I was watching and it doesn't happen every time, but most of the time it does happen, and as soon as they exit, they turn off the vehicle headlights. It's a pretty cool mechanic, right? Everyone knows that inside tunnels there are some things that happen, like for example, the GPS signal is deactivated inside the tunnel because theoretically it doesn't work, but strangely the internet still works and the radio too, right? So there's a realistic detail, but it's not 100% like that. And another thing that Pocoyo Zangado mentioned is that when you're out walking with Chop, it takes a little while to happen, but depending on where you're passing by, Chop will walk away from you and go to a lamppost to pee. He suggested I try to see if it works on trees too. I passed by trees and Chop didn't stop to pee at all, so I think it only works on lampposts. Interestingly, I had never seen this before, probably because I don't walk around with Chop a lot. So when he posted it here, I went to test it and it really worked after a while, but it worked. Now, a bizarre thing, man. This one is crazy. I was amazed by this, which is the following. There's a mission called Scouting the Port, where we put on the Steve Dorr outfit with Trevor and do the whole mission nicely. What is bizarre here, I don't know if you guys noticed, but to enter the port of Los Santos, we didn't actually need to show any authorization in that mission. You just have to put on the Steve Dorr outfit and then you can access it during that mission. What's cool about this is that after you finish this mission, if you come back to the port with Trevor, it's closed, but if you go to Trevor's house and put on the Steve Dorr outfit, you can enter the port perfectly. So there's a mechanic here for the Steve Dorr outfits for you to access the location freely as if you were a worker there, and man, I didn't know this bladder existed. I thought it was really cool. Very important detail here, this already happens in other things as well, like for example the Epsilon robes. If you put on the Epsilon robes, you can go to the Epsilon Center and talk to other guys, and other people say Kiflum to you on the street.
Hey pal, Kiflum.
There is also a very similar mechanic with police clothes, but it only works in a mission, which is in a planning mission for the big heist and such, where other cops can recognize you with police clothes. I showed this in a video of 50 curiosities about the police in GTA 5. If you want to see, I'll leave it on the final screen later, but it's really cool and shows that there was this mechanic of people recognizing you as a cop, but it was cut from the final version, whereas this one at the port, it is present in the final version, just like the Epsilon one. And last but not least, when you're here on the beach in Los Santos, not only in Los Santos, there are several beaches around the map. It's possible from time to time you see some buoys, and if you shoot at the buoy on the beach, it bursts. That is, it's not just there an inanimate object, you know, like it really bursts, which is cool. This was sent by Ivagame 2022 in the comments of the other videos. Also very cool. Straight up, talking about curiosities or details, man, this video here is just the tip of the iceberg. There's a lot of stuff. For example, the video of 50 curiosities about the police in GTA 5. There's too much stuff there that many people didn't even know existed. Clicking here next to the yellow arrow, you will see this video where you will see both this issue of police clothing and other really cool stuff. That's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to like and subscribe. Until the next video then, take care and peace out.